365 Sports.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining me here today. I appreciate it. This is 365 Sports Mizzou with Rogue Media. My name is Davis Wilson, talking Mizzou sports every day. And had a good show yesterday. Talked about all sorts of stuff, man. It was good. So go listen to that if you haven't. Today's show, we'll see what we can get done today. Got a little Mizzou news, some questions to be answered that I'll try to answer. And then the college football playoffs get going tonight. I'll give my thoughts on those games and maybe my predictions, maybe some picks. Sorry, I'm texting and potting. I'm done now. But yeah, we got a couple things to talk about. So thanks for being here. First thing, I don't know much about this, and I don't know really what this means, and anything like that. But Missouri football made a hire this morning. They hired a staffer from Tennessee. His name is Jake Bresky, I think. Bresky is how I would say it. Jake Bresky. Missouri is hiring him to become the chief recruiting officer at Missouri. Previously, he was with the Tennessee Volunteers for 5 years, working as the director of player personnel. This seems good. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a position that Missouri has not filled before. It's a brand new title, which means to me that Drinkwitz is using that extra $4 million salary pool that he got from his extension, which is good. I like that you're trying to do something here. I like it. I don't know. He's worked at Missouri before. Jake Bresky has. I think he worked under the Odom, under Barry Odom years ago. And then after that, he went to Tennessee. Look, I don't know. I don't know anything about the chief recruiting officer. I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is awesome because I don't know. It's something. It's money well spent. You're trying to. I don't know. You're trying to. Get more competitive on the recruiting side of things. It's good. I'm not going to spend too much time on it just because I don't know what I'm talking about, as you can tell, as I'm bumbling my way through this thing. But Jake Bresky, chief recruiting officer, coming from Tennessee. Seems like the people at Tennessee are happy for him for getting another job, but sad to see him go, so that's always a good sign. Okay. That's what I have on Jake Bresky. Next up, just a question. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but I want to really get into this. So as I was recording the show yesterday, Bo Prabila announced that he was going to transfer. Which, I think was surprising maybe due to the timing, but I'm not so sure it was surprising overall. I think this was probably coming. It was probably something that both sides were okay with. I mean, I don't know if Missouri was blindsided by this. I imagine probably not. I wonder if Bo will go back to Penn State. Clearly always loved Penn State, or maybe join James Franklin at Virginia Tech. I don't know. He'll have opportunities. But now Missouri is left with true freshman Matt Zollers, who will start the bowl game against Virginia next week. Drinkwitz came out right after the transfer was official and tweeted something about quarterback one being Matt Zollers. So the question is this: do you roll with it? Do you roll with Matt Zollers being your guy next year and for the future years beyond? Or do you go get someone out of the portal who maybe has a year left, who can bridge the gap, let Zollers get comfortable, I don't know, let Zollers continue to improve and get better? It's an interesting question. It just depends. Really, all of this depends on how good is Matt Zollers? How good is he really? Does Missouri's staff really trust him to be the guy next year? I think the plan always for Zollers was he was going to be the starting quarterback at this school at some point or another. He's a huge recruit. He's a big-time get for Missouri. The thing is, he burned a red shirt this year, played in more than 4 games, obviously had to step into a starting role after Bo Prabula and Sam Horn went down. So he does not have he did not redshirt. That means he still has one. I guess if you bring in a guy to play just next year, not anything else, I guess you're saying, Zollers, you redshirt this year, and then as a redshirt sophomore, you take over. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how he performs, with weeks of preparation here going into the Virginia game. But the question is, would you like Zollers or would you like a 1-year rental? To me, it depends on who the 1-year rental would be. There's a guy who hopped into the portal last night, Josh Hoover from TCU, a guy that I've watched a lot because I grew up a TCU fan and I kind of cover TCU here and there. So this is a guy, Josh Hoover, that I've seen a lot of. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Just throws it all over the field. Has gotten better with accuracy and taking care of the football, which is always good. If you could get him or a guy like him, Brendan Sorsby, probably not coming. Mestamaker from North Texas would be fun. Look, I'm not going to name all these names, but if you can get a guy who's clearly going to be an awesome college football quarterback for 1 year and give you a chance to win games by throwing the football, then you get him, I think. But if it's another situation where all you can get is a guy who's like a Bo Prabula type where, he hasn't really done a ton, but he's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of upside. Everybody likes him. I don't know if that's worth it. I think you roll those dollars there. Personally, I feel fine about rolling with Zollers. Of course, if Missouri could go get one of these top quarterbacks, Dylan Raiola is another name that people have mentioned a lot. Go get him. Go get him. Anything that can make this team the best team it can be. But to me, the end of the world would not come if Zollers was your starting quarterback next year. Honestly, because he's got experience. He played in some really big games this year. He'll play in a big bowl game coming up, and then he's got a full off season of just focusing on being a quarterback one. If you bring a guy in, you're also risking Zollers saying, no, I don't want to stay anymore. I want to go play right now, which I don't know if you could really blame him because he played this year and he played okay. He wasn't. I think that what he was allowed to do was limited because he hadn't played. He wasn't the quarterback one. He hadn't prepared to be the quarterback one necessarily. When he didn't really allow him to throw it all around, and it wasn't really the offense was never really built for him. So it was tough at times when he played, but Yeah, maybe he says, if you want to bring someone else in, fine, but I'm going to go somewhere else. And I think that would be a huge bummer. So you have to be careful. But personally, I'm cool with Zollers. I feel like this is a guy you expect to improve year to year, and he improved this year. I think he'll improve going into next year. And again, if this changes and you can get someone for 1 year, and Zollers is not going to skip town because of it, do it. But it's a tough thing. I mean, you have a decision to make. I think Missouri will bring in a quarterback one way or another because you need depth. I think Sam Horn's probably gone, Bo obviously gone, and then you got some young guys, Brett Brown, Gavin Sidwar. So at the very least, they are going to bring a quarterback in, I would bet, just for depth. It just depends on if that guy is a dude or if he's just a guy, and that will determine a lot about kind of Missouri's idea for next year. Another big thing that this revolves around is the offensive coordinator. Again, there's no news on that. I don't think that there will be any news on that until after the Virginia game coming up, after Christmas, closer to the new year. I think then maybe things will get interesting and you'll start hearing more about the offensive coordinator job. Again, as a guy who grew up a TCU fan and watched TCU during the 2022 team, the run where they made the title game, I always liked Garrett Riley. If they could go get Garrett Riley, that would be great. An experienced guy who has proven to be able to not only run a great offense, but get the best out of his quarterback and Max Duggan, and had a couple good years with Cade Klubnik. Not so much this year, but it happens. So that would be an interesting hire. There's a lot of interesting guys, and like Missouri said, or like Drinkwitz said in his press conference recently, they're going to hire a guy who is experienced and battle ready. I love that. A guy who can open up the passing game as well. Another thing that I really love and I think is great. Yeah, there you go. That's kind of my thoughts. There's not a ton of new news. One thing I'm pretty interested to see is if these guys like Damon Wilson and Josiah Trotter and Caden Green, those are kind of the three big guys that have a decision to make in terms of going to the NFL or staying another year. And I'm really curious to see what they choose because, man, if you get some of those guys back, I mean, it's arguable that those are three of your best five players on your football team. This year, they were probably three of the best. I would say Keegan Trost maybe had a better year than Caden Green. But heading into next year, these would be three of your five best players. So if you could get them back, if you can get even one or two of them back, I think it'd be a huge deal. That'll be, golly, it'd be great if you could bring those guys back, especially Trotter and Wilson. Having those two guys anchor your defense again would be amazing. And then Caden Green, it's always great to have an awesome left tackle. So we got to wait on that. We'll keep trying to figure out what will happen there. All right, that's all I have for Mizzou stuff, I think. Not a ton today, but we've got college football playoff kicking off tonight, December 19th at 7 o'clock on ABC. Oklahoma hosting Alabama. This is a matchup that has happened before this year. It was one that Oklahoma won. It was a messy game. It was a real grind. It was a game that ultimately allowed for Oklahoma to make the playoffs. This was a huge win. This was number 4 Alabama. One loss, number 4 Alabama at Tuscaloosa. And Oklahoma comes in there and beats them 23-21. Oklahoma's defense completely dominated this game, forced 3 turnovers. 2 of them were fumbles. 1 was an interception. They shut down the run almost completely, allowed just 80 yards on the ground. Oklahoma's defense is so good. It's just so good. And it's so interesting to me because when I think about Oklahoma when I was growing up, obviously before my time, they always had good defenses. But when I was growing up and really watching like the Baker Mayfield era and some of those other, like Kyler, it was like they always had an awesome offense, and then defense is where they kind of fell short. So it's crazy how this is flipped. This offense has fallen apart, really. They've fallen off a cliff from what they were doing at the beginning of the year. John Mateer not giving you a ton as your quarterback, which is never good, but this defense is good enough to keep you in any game. I don't know. This is going to be a great game. This is going to be a really great game. It's in Norman this time. It's a rematch. It's hard to beat any team twice, but Oklahoma definitely has the advantage at home, being at home, Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know. It all depends for me on how well can Mateer play, how well can Alabama's defense, how much can they dominate, how well can Alabama run the ball. If Oklahoma is able to shut down the run like they did, and really the key is taking care of the football. If Oklahoma can turn Alabama over again, this game's over. It's over. If Alabama can take care of the football, I think it'll be a great game. That game is tonight at 7:00. Oklahoma is a 1.5-point favorite. My gut tells me Alabama plus 1.5 tonight. My gut has been wrong a whole lot this season. So you can listen to me, or you are also allowed to not listen to me. But that is what I feel in my gut. All right, Miami, Texas A&M tomorrow at 11:00 in the morning, also on ABC, ESPN. This game is in College Station. A&M is a 3-point favorite against the Hurricanes. Kyle Field is going to be nuts, I think, just ridiculous. I think Texas A&M, first time in the playoff. It's a lot of stuff. Remember, Missouri fans, remember that defensive line up there is so scary. Cassius Howell is a guy that will get after you. If they can dominate this game against Miami's offensive line, if they can really get in the face of Carson Beck, who is prone to make mistakes, especially in big moments. We've seen him really fall apart in some really big moments. But that is a guy, if you can bother him, it's going to be tough for Miami to move the football at all. Let's see. Miami beat Notre Dame, as did A&M. So that's your kind of common opponent. It's going to be a good game. I'll say that. I am going to be leaning towards Texas A&M -3, though. That's my pick. That's my gut. It's my gut pick. All right, 2:30 tomorrow, Saturday, you have Ole Miss hosting Tulane. Both schools are figuring out coaching changes, although John Summerall is still coaching at Tulane. Lane Kiffin is not still coaching at Ole Miss. This is a matchup that's happened before. This matchup happened at Ole Miss, just where it's being played now. And Ole Miss won by 35 points, 45-10. Trinidad Chambliss had over 400 total yards of offense, 2 touchdowns. It's weird because now you're evaluating this team without its head coach that was with the team all year. I imagine that is a challenge to overcome if you are Ole Miss. So I don't know. We'll see kind of how that looks, but my gut says, again, it's a 17.5-point spread. My gut tells me Ole Miss will cover. Ole Miss minus 17.5, just because they're really talented. If you want to make any of these picks with me, you can. And this message I'm about to play will tell you how.
Missouri, your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live in your state. Now you can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more. All from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. Missouri fans know game day, the tailgates, the noise, the passion. Now, with DraftKings Sportsbook, you can bring that same energy to every snap, every touchdown, every win. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense. Just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code ALLMIZZOU. New Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code ALLMIZZOU. Crown is yours in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promo.
All right, there you go. Use code ALLMIZZOU on DraftKings if you want to join me in making some of these picks for the college football playoff this weekend. Again, so far I've taken Alabama plus 1.5 at Oklahoma. A little scared of that. Texas A&M minus 3 hosting Miami, and Ole Miss minus 17.5 hosting Tulane. Next up, you have, lastly, you have James Madison at Oregon. Oregon is a 21-point favorite. I'm going to take that. I think Oregon is going to – I feel bad taking the spread against these fun teams like James Madison, Tulane, but Oregon and Ole Miss are just really talented. If there was a team to cover, I think it would be Tulane against Ole Miss just because of what they've gone through in the last couple of weeks. But I also think that the Lane Kiffin thing is going to fuel that Ole Miss team a little bit. Oregon just super talented. Good coach, good quarterback, good defense. This game is at 6:30 on TNT. JMU, though, 12-1 this year. They win. Only loss coming to at Louisville. We'll see. But, yeah, I'm going to take – congrats to them, by the way. That's awesome. But I am going to take Oregon to cover that spread. So there you go. Those are my picks for this weekend. I'm excited to watch more college football. It's been a while. I guess Army-Navy was last week. But, having games on all day, it's been a while since we've had that. So I'm excited. We'll see what happens. I hope you guys enjoyed this show. That's all I have for you today. Come back on Monday. We'll have a lot to talk about. We can talk about the college football playoff games. We can talk about Missouri's basketball matchup with Illinois that's coming up. We could talk about, I'm sure there'll be more Missouri football news that'll happen over the weekend. We'll talk about that. We'll start kind of previewing Virginia, the Gator Bowl. We'll do all this stuff next week. So come back. Be sure to be back here on Monday. I appreciate you guys. Have a happy Friday. Have a good weekend. Happy holidays and everything. See you guys later.
365 Sports.